I have.
Okay.
So I've done 3 onboarding sessions. I've been at Arizona State, Arizona, Colorado. I've not been to Utah. I'm doing that next month. But I've met with student athletes, leadership, coaches, and there's a lot of energy and excitement for coming into the conference next year. So we're excited about those additions.
What does an onboarding session for a new conference involve?
I mean, literally, it's just me going in, sitting one-on-one, answering questions, giving them the vision for the conference, where we're going, so that when they're speaking to student athletes or recruiting, they have a sense for the direction of the Big 12. But it's also about answering questions so that they have a good understanding and concerns if they have any. So I spent the day in Tucson last week, and before that Arizona State and Colorado. So, and then we have a transitioning team, both internally here and they do there, just to make sure we're playing matchup when it comes to scheduling and all the different nuances that go into a transition into a new conference.
What were your impressions of the game day atmosphere at BYU?
Fantastic. It was great. A lot of pageantry, a lot of emotion from the fans. I went to all the schools on their first Big 12 home game, so it was built up. But BYU was fantastic, and the fans were ready for the moment. It was my second time to BYU. I was at BYU last year, so I had some prior exposure, but they do a great job there.
What do you envision I know you kind of addressed Arizona State earlier about everything still being worked out, but the thoughts on the BYU-Utah rivalry and what that means for the conference going forward?
I think it's great for the conference, and our media networks like it too. So we're working through all those things, but rivalries matter, historic matchups matter, but we also have to take into account geography and the student athlete dynamic as well. But rivalries and historic matchups are critically important. It's what our fans want, it's what our TV partners want, it's what our conference wants. So we're vetting through that now.
You mentioned last year there were some things that you were hoping Kansas City would do with the arena and other things around the tournament in order to think about a long-term extension. With you guys talking about it right now, are you satisfied with what they're doing moving forward?
I'm very satisfied. I mean, we've had many strategic meetings since last year's championship on, how do we reinvent the building for our championship experience, add clubs, add premium seating, how do we further activate power and light, how do we more integrate ourselves in the community, how does the airport support us, so when people land here, because it's destinational, they know it's the Big 12 championship for men's and women's. So we've addressed all that and more, and we're moving in a real positive direction.
You mentioned you were on campus for each team's first Big 12 conference football game. What was your early impressions on the Cincinnati game?
I just answered that question, but Cincinnati specifically, I thought it was world class. Their hospital. It was, first of all, it was a glorious day, and Big Noon Fox was there that day, so it amplified it a little bit. But the energy, the excitement, obviously it was a big game versus Oklahoma, but they're ready for the moment, and it happened to be a very competitive game too. So I was very impressed.
You brought up football scheduling on the stage. Are you targeting a January release for that again, like you did last year?
Hopefully earlier than January.
Maybe December?
Yeah, I would think December's probably sometime late November, December. Yeah, that sounds right.
Guys, probably one more question for you guys. After the addition of the 4 corner schools, you guys will be in 10 different states. What does having that national reach do for the conference to help get their story out?
No, I love it. It enables us to storytell. You're right, 4 time zones, 10 states, 90 million people in our footprint. So the question for me and the challenge I have is, how do you leverage that scale and make it really work for the conference, which we're doing? It provides a lot of opportunity and possibility when you think about potential championships moving to new footprints across the country. Many of our championships are stationary for the immediate future, but it provides a lot of opportunity for us, and we're excited about it. It was our goal.
All right, thank you.